Joining us on Charter Local Edition, I'm Brad Pomerance. We are coming to you from the National Association of Counties Convention in Long Beach. We are joined today by Greg Cox. He is a supervisor in San Diego County. He is also seeking a leadership role in the NACo organization. He is running for second vice president. We see his signs everywhere. We wish you the best of luck, sir. We'd like to get a sense, though, why have you chosen to seek a leadership role in a national organization like NACo?
Well, I've had a chance to serve on the NACo board for about 6 years. In fact, I co-chaired a committee that looked at restructuring the way that the national organization was convened, and we made some major changes that allowed for more participation on the part of more counties. And you know, the national levels where a lot of decisions are made that have a big impact on counties and the services and the programs we have for our citizens.
Explain that, because we know that counties wield a lot of influence in the various states, especially California. I mean, 58 counties and a lot goes on in the counties. We may think the city may have a lot going on, but counties really impact us more. Why is it that the National Association has such an impact on local counties?
Well, obviously the programs that we run at the county level, so many of them are mandated by the state and federal government, and a lot of the funding for those programs comes from the state and federal government. So having programs that you're dealing with homelessness, you're dealing with mental health issues, you're dealing with behavioral health issues, physical health issues, those are all programs that are pretty much controlled by the state and federal government. So having a good advocacy back in Washington, D.C. and in Sacramento is really important to make sure that we have rules that we can live by and an adequate source of funding to run those programs.
Let's presume victory, and I want to get a sense from you, what do you plan to do? What are your hopes, dreams, aspirations as second VP of NACo?
Well, it's a 4-year commitment, and so you kind of go through the chairs.
Right. And let our viewers know, second vice president, and then you become first vice president presumably, and then you're president, and then you're immediate past president.
Right. But the only election is that first one for second vice presidents. Everything else is on autopilot after that. So it's 4 years to really try to affect policy decisions at the federal level. And NACo is a great organization. They got great staff, but I think we always kind of find ourselves in a position where we're reacting to things. It's very seldom that we get a chance to get out in front and saying, Congress, this is what you should be doing to make it easier for us to do our job, to provide those services to your constituents, because every one of them is a constituent of a congressman or a U.S. senator.
I want to ask you, and I honestly don't know the answer to this question. Usually you shouldn't ask a question you don't know the answer, but who has a greater impact on counties, at least in California, the federal government or the state government?
Well, it's probably, the answer is it's not really a cop-out. It depends on the program.
I understand.
And both of them do, because there's money that comes from the federal government that gets washed to the state.
Right.
So not only do we have to please our federal legislators, but we also have to work with and please our state legislators to make sure that money ultimately comes down to provide those services.
How about this? Maybe you can answer this. The pass-through money that goes to counties, is most of the pass-through that at least California counties get purely state money or purely federal money?
It's really a mix. Now it depends on the programs. We have the millionaire's tax, Prop 63 that was passed. That's all state money, but it's providing a tremendous boost in revenues to deal with issues dealing with mental health. So that's a program that's dealing strictly at the state level. When you talk about food stamps, most of the money that comes for food stamps is coming from the federal government.
So as you look towards second vice presidency, what issues do you want to get ahead of? Like you said, there's certain issues you want to get out in front. What are those issues?
Well, a couple of things, and some of it is predicated on our experiences in San Diego. We've got a couple of programs we initiated in San Diego that have just done, I think, a tremendous job in extending services to people in our community.
Can we talk about one of them? And that is known as the 211 program. I know you take particular pride in that program. Tell us what it is for our viewers.
Well, 211 is a number that is set aside by the federal government, the Federal Communications Commission, to to be a information number. I mean, everybody knows what 911 is. If you're in an emergency, you call 911. Well, 211.
Do you remember 411? Do you remember
Yeah,
411? It's no longer with us, really. But anyway, I digress.
211 was originally set up for health and human services information. In San Diego, we used to have a United Way that would run an info line, and it was a 1-800 number that nobody could ever remember the number. So this simplifies it. And what we've done in San Diego, we kicked it off in July of 2005. It's one simple number for people to call, and they would be, directed to different health and human service programs. It was, probably
private or public.
Yes.
Private or public.
And they get 130, 140,000 calls a year. We had just signed a protocol to have them be the information number, or the number for people to call in an emergency, the non-emergency number for people to call. When we had the 2007 fires, suddenly, I mean, we didn't want people to call 911 to find out is my boil water order, is it off? Where do I go for family assistance?
Right.
Where do I go for my streets, are they back open so I can get home? So we use that as the non-emergency number during the disaster, and we had, like, in a 5-day period of time, we had 160,000 calls,
which you normally had in a year.
Yeah, I mean, that's more than we had in a year. So now what we've done is we've even expanded it beyond that, because the first question that is asked when somebody calls is, are you a veteran? If they are a veteran, they go over to a cadre of people, and we've got people from the Department of Veterans Affairs, other veteran service organizations that will handle their calls, because let's face it, they can talk kind of a foreign language, and sometimes they're a little embarrassed to talk to somebody, explaining what their situations are. The second question asked is, what zip code do you live in? The reason that's important is it provides some information which could be provided back to a city or the unincorporated of the county on a daily, weekly, monthly basis on what are the unmet needs in your communities. So now if somebody sees graffiti, they can call 211, and the operators there will take the information, they'll transmit it to the appropriate jurisdiction. If they need help with the behavioral health services, they'll take that information, give them the contact to call. If they don't have medical insurance, they will not only let them know about Obamacare and what they can do, but they'll set them up with an appointment. And on food stamps, they can actually take an application from them and transmit it to an eligibility worker, and within 24 to 48 hours, that person can be, if they qualify, they can be made eligible for food stamps.
Can I ask you more about veterans? I learned recently that in San Diego County in 2016, veterans homelessness is down 16%. The unsheltered veteran is down 9%. The sheltered veteran is down 22%. What are you doing right, sir?
Well, we've got the point in time count says we have 8,700 homeless in San Diego County, and that's probably below what the real market is. There certainly is a lot of focus. Mayor Faulkner in San Diego has committed to come up with 1,000 beds for veteran homeless, and that's a great program that he's got going. We've kicked off a program. Supervisor Ron Roberts and I started a program which we just approved a couple of weeks ago called Project One for All, which is focusing on another component of that homeless population, and that's the severely mentally ill homeless, which is about 20% of the population, about 1,250.
But what I'm trying to figure out in San Diego County is one example of many counties where the homeless crisis is real, but when you look at veterans, the resolutions tend to be very positive.
Well, that is one of the bright spots.
Right.
One of the sad parts is that we're actually seeing an increase in the number of homeless in San Diego.
Right, that
because
we know.
it's kind of
right. It's a beautiful place, and people will flock there for the weather.
So it kind of brings a lot of people in. And our challenge is to try to work with those that have been out there a long time that have mental health issues.
Right.
We've got a funding source through Prop 63 in California, the Millionaire's
And more
Tax,
may come in through.
And we may get some of that directed towards housing. Right. But we've developed a program to work with the 18 cities in the county. If they can provide the housing, the county will commit to come in and provide all the wraparound services to.
We'll see you in San Diego. His name is Greg Cox. My name is Brad Pomerance. We're coming to you from NACo, Charter Local Edition.